My name is Lisa Canny. I'm from Hollymount in County Mayo on the west coast of Ireland. I am the youngest of three. I am a musician, songwriter and composer, and my main instruments are harp and banjo. My first exposure to music was definitely from my family. I have a very large family. I have 65 first cousins, 20 odd aunties and uncles, and basically everybody in the family is somewhat musical. Family events since I was born, I've always ended up in a sing-song. I went on to do a degree in Irish music and dance at the University of Limerick. Again, very grateful for what that gave me and continued to give me that confidence in following my dream. When I was 19, I went on tour in the States, and that was the beginning, really, of my professional career in music. I do a lot of things. Obviously, my main thing is my own project, my own solo project, which I write and arrange and record and gig all the time for. But 3 days a week then I also lecture in music in a college in London called ICMP. So some days I could have my teacher hat on or my lecturer hat on, and the next day I'm in a studio writing songs. And maybe at the weekend I'm gigging with various bands that I play with. So really there's no average day. I have very little time to kind of chill out, and that's probably self-inflicted as well. As I said, I choose to work when I have time off. I think every creative person does, because it's all on you. It's all on you. You can only be as good as you let yourself be. You know, I've always been interested in hip hop and R&B, but never felt like I was entitled to play that type of music because I wasn't from the areas that it was, born in. Coming from the west of Ireland, I was a traddie, and that was kind of where I belonged. So it took me a while to kind of go, hang on, I can try this out too. And the harp doesn't have to just be Irish music, and it can, it's the same capabilities as a piano, so why not treat it like that? So I started experimenting with that, and then I suppose that kind of filtered into my performance a little bit, and my vocal style and my playing. It was getting a little bit more contemporary, and I caught the attention of a man called Miles Copeland at a gig we did with these productions. The show I was with was called Celtic Crossroads. And afterwards a man approached me and said, "Can I talk to you? I think you should be a solo artist. I think you should forget this band and come, and I'm going to help you, and we're going to do this together." And not really knowing who he was, I was kind of nodding along going, "Okay, sure." And he goes, "I'm going to bring you to my castle in France." I was going, "Okay, sure." But turns out he was Miles Copeland, who managed the Police and Sting and had CIA records, and he was the godfather in the industry. And he flew me to France a few months later to his castle. He wasn't joking. And it was part of ASCAPS annual songwriters retreat. So it's a week-long retreat, and they bring in 18 select people from around the world to bring them together to write songs and hit songs in this literally a castle. And I had no idea what I was getting myself in for, obviously. But when I arrived there, I was kind of like so naive with my harp and my banjo, and I remember my heart sinking because I started recognizing who these people were, and still not having written a song in my life, realized that it was the Kaiser Chiefs and the Plain White T's and Mike Posner and some of the biggest producers in the world and the biggest songwriters in the world, And I was kind of being going around, being introduced to every one of them, and thinking I so don't belong here. Like, I'm not of the same caliber. I've never even written a song. These are absolute legends in this craft. What I really try to do is separate my practice from my actual doing. So I will someday sit myself down with the task of writing a song, and I will call that practice. And I will apply all the things that I've learnt that makes a good song, and try out techniques that I've heard of, or listen to a song on the radio and go, "Oh, that's kind of clever what they've done there," and then go home and try that. And I kind of see that as like a practice thing. Now, if I get a great song out of it, great. But if I don't, who cares? That's just a little muscle memory that I can put to the side again. You have to get your technique right from the get-go so that you can do what you should be able to do, and what you hear, what you want to be able to do, you can do it. So growing up, I think the technique is the most important thing, and then you add your style once you get to that point. What I've kind of done in the last few years now is I've started introducing things like loop pedals, and that has really now become a focal part of what I do. And since moving to London, a lot of people say, oh, you're the harpist that loops, or the hip hop harpist, you know, this coming from using this technology. And the harp is absolutely made for that kind of thing, you know. A lot of people still think of the harp as something that plays long, broken chords and does really beautiful things. And of course it's exceptional at that, and it does that very well. But the harp has so much rhythm in it as well, and so much percussive capabilities in it, just even with the soundboard itself, or with, like, you know, muting the strings and using that as something rhythmic. You can build amazing tracks just with a loop pedal, just with your foot and a little pedal at it, and just build and build and build. So my style has evolved, I suppose. The whole thing, the same with every creative person, is you bring in something else and you work at that until you've mastered that, and then when you've done that, you go, what's next? And you bring in something else. So I don't really know what's going to be next for me yet, but that's where I'm at right now. If I was on a desert island and was only allowed to bring 2 or 3 things, what would they be? I'm ashamed to say this, but it would have to be my phone. Only because I never get off it. I'm always on it. Yeah, I think my phone would be number 1. That's terrible. That's above my harp. But it's just because you can do so much on it now. You know, I write, record, I've got my little GarageBand app, I write tracks on that, you know. I'd be completely lost without my phone. That's terrible. My second thing would be my harp, but that's not going to be easy on a desert island, is it? Maybe a mini harp, maybe a little harp. I think if I had those 2 things, I'd be happy enough. It's taken me a while to find my sound, because it's a process. And even when I started out on this solo thing, people said, it'll take time, give it time. And I was very impatient. I was like, no, I know what I want to do and I know what it is. And I totally didn't. And I went down the wrong lanes for many years. And I think every artist needs to go through that. There's no shortcut. There's no shortcut. You actually need to try all that. As much as you need to go through all the terrible lyrics. You need to get them out of your system before you can write something good. And it's the same with any craft. You kind of just need to go through the process. There's no shortcut. It's all about building through that process. But I think what I've realised now is that that's part of it. And that where I am now isn't where I'm going to be in 4 years, and that's okay. And I think that's important to realise, because a lot of artists are worried about releasing something out to the general public because it's not where they want to be. But I think you need to just learn to let go. And when you're happy with something, to a certain extent, just go, okay, let's just put it out there. I can always release and record something again next year and show the process. My sound now, where it's at and where I think I'm happy with it, is, again, that kind of foundation of where I came from. It's the same as you tell a writer, write what you know. You know, write what you know, write what comes from the heart. It's that idea that I am so confident with my foundation in traditional Irish music and what I know of that tradition and what I understand of it, my level of understanding of that I need to use that as my foundation and then put all the other bits on top of it. And so that's now what my sound is. You can hear it's very influenced by traditional Irish music, but also by all the other influences. And I'm happy enough with that. I think I've come to terms with the fact that that's where I'm strongest, and that I just need to kind of move everything around on top of that to make it work. So I now, having come to that realization, I now also am not afraid to use Irish traditional elements in my pop songs. I'm conscious when I have people come to record me that they are also passionate about their craft. So somebody who really, really nerds out on how to get something sounding good, that's good to me. I like them. We're going to be fine, you know. And I am particular about my harp sound. I want it to sound as natural as possible. If I could give a tip to myself starting all over again, 3 things. Don't stress about it. Don't stress about it. Which is very connected to number 2, which is enjoy the journey. The truth of the matter is the only person that can stop you is you. The only person that can actually stop you from doing what you want to do is you. And the only person that can actually make it happen for yourself is you too. So just keep doing it.